Hey everyone, it's garlic planting season. That brings me great joy because in addition to the fact that I find that garlic is one of the crops we grow that we use the most of and really make the most of what we harvest, it's also incredibly satisfying to grow and very easy. But this year I want to ensure that next year's harvest is extra good. And so I'm going to treat this garlic like the hero it is. And that's by giving it a stiff drink. Let me tell you what this is all about. So this year I'm going to do a bit of an experiment, and I'm going to grow half of my garlic the same way I have for years now. And then the other half of my garlic I'm going to do what's called a fertilization soak, which is something I read about on the Keene Garlic website. And Keene Garlic, which is located in Wisconsin, is where I buy all my garlic from these days. Very, very happy with what they have. And I only grow the music variety. I think it's the best. And I don't even feel the need to try anything else anymore because it's nice, big, flavorful cloves. I like everything about it. I grow hardneck garlic up here. We're in the northern part of the country, and so that's generally hardneck garlic country. And so I only grow the hardneck variety music. I have no complaints about it. Anyway, on the Keene Garlic website, they talk about this fertilization soak, which they say really offers better yields. And I'm going to try it with half of my garlic so that we can all see if it's worth going to the extra trouble. And honestly, it's not a lot of extra trouble, but it is one more step. And let's be honest, one of the joys of growing garlic is that it's so easy. Anyway, this fertilization soak starts here with this bottle of vodka because the first step is sterilizing. I bought 2 bags of this year because we go through so much garlic that I'm never even able to save any of my own garlic to grow the next year, because actually we're almost out of garlic already from our harvest in July. So this year I'm going to do an entire raised bed of garlic because it's totally worth it to me. So upping the ante big time. So what I'm going to do is one of these bags is going to get planted regular, one of these bags is going to get planted with this fertilization method. So the first step is to sterilize your garlic for 10 minutes before you go into the fertilization soak. You can sterilize it, and they offer multiple ways. One of them is cheap vodka, and so I'm definitely going the cheap vodka route. And I'm just going to do it here, and we will be able to, if I can't fit it all in this one, we can reuse the vodka for the next batch. So you don't want to break up your bulbs until you're ready to plant. Keene Garlic says it makes no difference if you leave the paper on when you're doing this sterilization soak, so I'm going to leave it on. Okay, I'm actually going to soak those 3 because I'm not going to have enough room for all of them here, so 10 minutes on the clock. Okay, 10 minutes is up, so I'm going to fish these out. And this is the bowl we'll use for the next step. And the rest of the cloves are going to go into the vodka to get their little cocktail hour. So to make the fertilization soak, it's pretty simple. Water. I'm going to call this a gallon just for the purposes of measuring out the baking soda, because it's a teaspoon of baking soda per gallon of water. And then whatever fertilizer you're going to use. Now, on the recipe, they give you lots of options for different kind of fertilizers you can use, and it doesn't matter that much. And I will link this article with the recipe and how to do this in the description below. I'm just going to use good old-fashioned Neptune's Harvest, which is fish and seaweed, and I'm totally going to eyeball this. You can follow, the dilution instructions on the back, but it's quite a bit different compared to what you're using it for, so I don't think in this case you can go too wrong. Especially considering that this isn't going to be in there for that long, and that's a nice organic fertilizer, so I don't think there's any overdoing it. Then we put the sterilized cloves in the fertilizer soak for a minimum of 30 minutes, up to a day, but even on their website they say that they've left it in there for up to 3 days and they think it'll be fine. So I would say like several hours is probably a good goal. So we're going to put our sterilized cloves in here, let them soak for a while. I will catch up with you when we're done with the soaking. Okay, it's been maybe 3.5 hours that I've been soaking these. I would have liked to actually do it a little bit longer, but I think 3.5 hours is a reasonable amount of time, and I really just want to get this done today. I'm going to put some Organic Mechanics insect frass in here. Garlic is a really heavy feeder, hence why this fertilization soak, is apparently a thing. So I'm going to put insect frass down first, and I'm also going to put down some additional fertilizer. I'm using these tomato plant takes to sort of delineate each half, because we're going to do half soaked and half not soaked on this side. Okay, so I also have this one. This is Espoma's garden food. Now, I don't believe that this one is actually organic, but I found this in the garage. I was just cleaning out the garage while we were waiting, and this fertilizer is not going to keep. So a lot of these fertilizers, they are not going to be happy living in your frozen areas. So I'm trying to use up what I can here. I don't know that I'm going to use this all in here. That's probably overkill, but a good amount of it. This little hand hoe I've been using it for everything now, and we're going to use it to mix this in too. Generally speaking, garlic about 4 inches deep, and 4 inches. I usually do about this distance. Flat end down, pointy end up. I just stick them in with my hands because this soil is loose enough to be able to do that. And because this is the soaked end, I'm going to use the rest of our fertilizer soak to water these guys in. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly the same thing with the other bulbs, except no soaking. All right, now mulching. Now some people wait and let their garlic sprout or do whatever it's going to do. Sometimes it sprouts, sometimes it doesn't, before they mulch. And I just know that if I don't mulch this right now while I'm doing this project, there's a good chance it won't happen. So I'm going to mulch. This is salt marsh hay, which comes from the same place where I've been getting my pine straw from. I'll put a link to it below. Now, the owner told me that a lot of people love this in vegetable gardens because this is truly weed seed free. So there's no chance of growing a bunch of weeds rather than your vegetables. We've actually been using a little bit of this for areas where we're starting grass, and it's been great for that too. And I've been mulching beds with it too because I ran out of pine straw. So I'm gonna put a nice layer of this on here and hope it stays. So in the past, I have mulched this bed and all these other garden beds with leaves. And I still believe that that is like amazing use for leaves. And if you're able to do that, I think you should. However, one of the things, as you may know, I've been dealing with a pretty bad jumping worm infestation. And one of the things that they've found is that they love leaves. They love to eat leaves. More than anything else, the jumping worms want to eat leaves. So it turns out that by doing something that I thought I was good for my garden, I was actually helping perpetuate a problem. Now, not using leaves is not going to make them die or make them go away, but will not encourage the population to use something else. One of the things that they feel like might be a little helpful is something like pine straw, or I would guess like this, although this was not specifically mentioned. So that is why I'm not mulching with leaves anymore. I think if you don't have that problem, you should absolutely mulch with leaves. I think leaves are the very best mulch, particularly obviously in fall. So if you are able to do that and you don't have the problem that I have with jumping worms, I fully encourage you to continue
mulching with leaves, because I truly believe that leaves are free magic gardening goodness falling from the sky.
I told you planting garlic was super easy. Unfortunately, we're not going to know the results of this experiment until basically mid-July. So we do have to hang in for a while to find out if the fertilizer soak was a good extra step. Certainly it was not difficult to do. So it certainly won't harm anything, I'm sure, but we will find out. So anyway, let's just be on record here. This half of the bed towards the middle of the raised bed garden we're at the middle here. This is the soak side. That's the not soak side, and there is a divider in the middle, so we know which is which. We will find out in 2025 if it worked. Stay tuned.